All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a formula, a powerful little piece of math that made its way from, believe it or not, telephone signals all the way to high-stakes poker tables and the trading floors of Wall Street. It's called the Kelly Criterion.
So, let's set the stage here. At its heart, this whole thing is about solving a massive problem. A real million-dollar question that pretty much every gambler and investor has wrestled with forever.
Okay, so imagine this, right? You've got an edge. Maybe it's in the stock market, maybe it's sports betting, doesn't matter where. The point is you know the odds are in your favor. The big question, the one that really matters, isn't if you should bet, it's how much. How much of your hard-earned cash do you actually put on the line?
And this is where it gets tricky. It's a total balancing act. You bet too little, and yeah, you're safe, but your money just crawls. It's slow, and you're leaving a ton of potential profit on the table. But you bet too much, and you're basically juggling dynamite. One bad run, just one unlucky streak, and poof, you're wiped out. Gone. It's this razor's edge between getting rich and going broke.
So where did the answer to this ancient puzzle come from? Well, you'd think it'd be some legendary gambler or a Wall Street wizard, right? Nope. The solution came from a place you would never, ever expect. It came from a scientist. Yep, you heard that right. A guy named John L. Kelly, a super smart scientist at Bell Labs way back in 1956. And get this, he wasn't trying to figure out how to win at blackjack or anything. He was working on telephone lines, specifically how to deal with static and noise on long-distance calls. It just so happened that the math he developed to solve that problem had this mind-blowing application for betting.
So, once this thing was out there, it just took off. I mean, it spread like wildfire. First in the 60s, the pro gamblers and horse racers got a hold of it. They immediately saw how powerful it was. Then, fast forward to the 80s, and suddenly Wall Street's sharpest minds were all over it, using it to manage huge sums of money.
And we're not talking about small-time players here. The people who've used Kelly-based strategies are absolute legends. Think Warren Buffett. Think Bill Gross, the bond king. When guys like that are using principles from this formula, you know it's way more than just some cute math trick. This is the real deal.
Okay, so that's the backstory. We know who came up with it and why it's a big deal. Now for the fun part, let's actually look at the formula itself and see how it works.
At its core, the Kelly Criterion does one thing, and it does it perfectly. It tells you the exact percentage of your money to bet to make it grow as fast as possible over the long haul. And that's the key. It's not about winning one big bet. It's a strategy for a lifetime of them.
And there it is. Now I know what you're thinking. A formula with letters in it can look a little scary. But trust me, once we pull it apart, you'll see it's actually super straightforward. It's really elegant.
So let's just break this down piece by piece. F is our answer. It's the fraction, or percentage, of our bankroll we should bet. B is just the odds. So if you're getting 2-to-1 odds, B is 2. If it's even money, like you win what you bet, B is 1. Simple. P is your probability of winning. And Q is just the opposite, the probability of losing. So it's always just 1 minus P.
Okay, enough with the theory, right? Let's make this concrete. There's no better way to get a feel for this than to run through a super simple example.
Let's say we've got a magic coin. It's biased. We know for a fact it comes up heads 55% of the time. And someone comes along and says, hey, I'll give you even money, 1-to-1 odds, every time you bet on heads. That 5% difference, that's our edge.
So now all we got to do is plug those numbers into our formula. Our chance of winning, P, is 0.55. Our chance of losing, Q, is 1 minus that, so 0.45. And the odds, B, are even money, so that's just 1. So we pop those in, we get 1 times 0.55 minus 0.45, and the whole thing is divided by 1. Super simple math.
And what do we get? We get 0.10, or 10%. That's the answer. The Kelly Criterion is telling us loud and clear that the perfect optimal amount to bet is exactly 10% of our bankroll every single flip. Not 9%, not 11%, 10.
Okay, so 10%. But why? Why is that the magic number? Let's dig into what makes that specific percentage so special. I mean, it's a fair question, isn't it? If we have an edge, why not go for it? Why not bet, say, 20% or 30%? Let's get rich faster. Why hold back? Well, here's why. Because the goal isn't just to win, it's to keep playing. The formula isn't just about growth, it's about survival. It's built to maximize something called the logarithmic growth rate.
Now that sounds complicated, but all it really means is finding the sweet spot, the absolute fastest way to grow your money over time that also keeps your risk of going completely broke as low as possible. It's about safe, powerful compounding.
This makes it really clear. If you bet less than what Kelly suggests, say half of it, you'll still make money, but it's going to be a slow grind. If you bet the exact full Kelly amount, you're on the perfect path, the fastest growth possible. But here's the scary part. If you get greedy and bet more, like double Kelly, yeah, you might have some massive wins at first, but the math doesn't lie. Over time, your chance of hitting zero, of blowing up your entire bankroll, skyrockets.
All right, but let's be real for a second. That was a perfect little coin flip world. The real world is, well, it's a lot messier. So you can't just apply this formula blindly. We need to talk about what using Kelly looks like in practice.
Okay, so here's the number one problem. In the real world, you almost never know the exact probabilities like we did with that coin. And if you're overconfident, if you think your edge is bigger than it really is, Kelly will tell you to bet way, way too much. That's super dangerous. It's why a lot of the pros use what's called fractional Kelly. They'll calculate the Kelly bet and then only risk half or maybe even a quarter of that amount. It's a safety buffer. And you know the coolest part? If you plug in the numbers and you don't have an edge, the formula wisely tells you to bet nothing at all.
So if you remember one thing, let it be this. The Kelly Criterion is not a magic 8-ball. It doesn't predict the future or tell you who's going to win. It's not about finding an advantage. It's about what you do after you found one. It's a system for managing your money and your risk with incredible discipline.
And that is the timeless lesson of the Kelly Criterion. It's the mathematical proof that long-term success isn't about swinging for the fences. It's about betting smart, not just big. So the next time you face a decision with the odds in your favor, the question won't be if you should take the chance, but rather how much of yourself are you willing to bet.